And hello, greetings. Hello. It is Monday, June 12th, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'm having audio issues. My headphones are popping in my ears. Hopefully my guest and friend Dave, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, great. It's so good to have you back on. I haven't had...
Are you normally this whiny?
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't realize it, but I really can be even whinier than this.
Really?
You know what? I'll give you the lowdown real quick. So, like 15 years ago, I bought this really nice, like 5.1 surround sound setup for my computer, and I got it on sale because it was refurbished or whatever, and it's been great. But over the last like year or so, something's starting to go in it, and it's like popping and hissing in my ears now because I plug my headphones in through it.
Yeah, I'm getting this problem with these headphones. These headphones are pretty good. The mic's really decent and everything, but once in a while, this ear goes quieter than this one, and whenever that happens, it makes you a little bit. You're like, what? And it's just annoying. It's like it's still usable, but it's just it's frustrating when something's slightly out.
And people who don't stream don't realize how those little things can really. The little things can make a big difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, ask any streamer about audio, and there's a little bit of that, like, yeah, you roll your eyes a little bit with it.
Well, we've got Lorna in chat right now, and he just started streaming because he finally upgraded his 2 tin cans and a string internet up to DSL. So,
yeah, I saw him doing SimCity the other day, and I was surprised. I looked, I was like, is this Lorna? How is this working really well?
Yeah, he upgraded, and I went in, he was playing Witcher, and his voice was really... I'm like, I can't hear you. He goes, oh, is this a little bit better? I'm like, no, way louder, dude, way louder. Yeah. But that's what you need friends to tell you that thing. Yeah,
and the one thing I've noticed over the course of streaming is you get better as you go. It's kind of like you don't really know where your flaws are until you start doing it on a regular basis. And when I first started streaming, I didn't have a cam. I didn't have a very good mic. And over the course of time, I kind of upgraded all those things and started adding things. And I've learned so much about editing and OBS and all these other things just because I keep on trying to do it. So it's a learning process. You're never going to get it right first time. Right.
I found you because I was working in Photoshop and I was looking for something to watch. I wasn't streaming myself. I was looking for something to watch, and I was making an overlay for FTL. And I scrolled and there was like 5 people playing FTL, and I go, well, let me just go into the person who has no one watching. So I went in there and I was like, oh, he's got an accent. How cool.
Yeah, that's typically how I draw people in, is the accent. It's not the bubbly personality. It's just because apparently my accent is pretty attractive. I don't know. It's my voice. I hear it every day. I don't think anything of it. But.
Well, I'll tell you, the accent may have hooked me originally, but what kept me was the sarcastic, self-deprecating snark. That's in my opinion, that's your big draw. You're like, oh, great. Firing the oxygen bay. Oh, there go my doors. Good job, Dave. Good job.
Yeah. God damn it, Dave. Apparently it's my catchphrase with the little community that I've built on my streams. Damn it, Dave.
Yes.
And they just hold out for me to say it. And they're like, oh, he said it. Damn it, Dave. And there's another one. God damn it, Dave. It's not a lot of variation, but it depends on the severity of the situation.
Have you thought about trying to come up with a different catchphrase and just maybe inserting it and seeing if you can get people to catch on? Like, I don't know, like, just be like, yes, Dave wins again. And then if you say Dave wins again enough, maybe your regular followers will.
Funny enough, there was something I said once. It was after I finished a dungeon. Because I play, well, you guys don't know, I play World of Warcraft. Try and play it every day for about 4 to 5 hours doing a bit of a leveling quest. But there was something I tried out once. I don't know why I said it. I probably was drinking on stream at the time, but I said Big Dave out when I finished the dungeon. and and every time I leave the dungeon and I don't say it now, someone hits up and goes, "Why didn't you say Big Dave out?" I'm like, I just didn't say it. So apparently they want that to become a catchphrase, which feels a little bit egotistic, but I don't know.
I have heard the Big Dave and Big D out. I've heard you say Big D out as well. So I think we have 5 viewers, and I know one is Loina, and I'm willing to bet 2 of them are you and me. So just for a real quick recap, what people can find Dave on twitch.tv/Noaneer. That's his Twitch name, Noaneer. And he does a really cool thing, I think. I think it's really fascinating. So he's playing through World of Warcraft, and he's calling it Dave's Quest. And hello, Zale. Good to see you again, buddy. I'm talking to Noaneer, Dave. And Dave, why don't you just give a real... We're not going to spend a ton of time on the Noaneer channel because we want to talk about the D20 multiverse, too. But why don't you real quick just tell people what the Dave's Quest is, sort of in a nutshell.
All right, so basically Dave Quest started in October when I was going through a very, very dark time of my life. So I decided to achieve something. One of the best ways of combating, any depression or anything that's very dark in your life is set a goal and trying to achieve it and work towards doing it. So I decided, I've been playing World of Warcraft since vanilla, and I decided to level every single class 10 levels at a time until I had a complete max server. So I divided everything into phases. So level 0 to 10, that was phase 1. So I leveled all 10 characters at that time to level 10. And then I kept going and went back up to the top of the roster, through it all, leveling 10, so it was 10 to 20. And at the moment, I'm just about to finish phase 8, which is level 70 to 80. And I've got 3 levels to go, with one of my hated classes, the Shaman. I put the Shaman last because by that point, I'm just really over the zones that I'm leveling in, and I'm just real bitter about the whole thing, and I just want to get through it, so I figured I'd just put my worst class there. And yeah, I've been doing that. I've been trying to stream every day. With the new D20 multiverse project that I've got coming up, I can't stream every day, but I stream basically 5 days a week. And yeah, I've been going through that, and I picked up a little bit of a community that have formed around me.
Yeah, I've noticed. I didn't tune in much during phase 7. That's Burning Crusade, right?
That was Outland, yeah.
Yeah, because I fucking hate Burning Crusade, man.
I do too now.
Yeah, I mean, I've leveled so many goddamn characters through Burning Crusade. I was like, I would tune in and just say hello, and then after like 5 minutes, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. Like, I just can't watch these dungeons or these quests or these, like, I love you, but I gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of people that do follow my channel that do that. And they come in just to check the progress, check where I'm at, see how I'm going, even just come in and say hi in the morning.
Yeah.
And I find that way heaps flattering because it means all the progress I'm doing, they're not coming in and saying, oh, he's at this point, oh, he's at this point. And I do have a little tally at the top of my stream from an overlay you build, thank you, Rhevs, that gives an update of the phase I'm in and how many characters I've completed of that phase. So it lets people kind of jump in, see where I'm at straight away. And I have quite a lot of followers that do that. I mean, my Twitch following is now at 189, which may not seem a lot, but I do have a lot of consistent viewers. I think I have around about 5 or 6 a day that turn up.
I mean, you know, I started streaming noon until 4 weekdays my time. And I've noticed, yeah, I get a lot of I don't have a lot of viewers, but I've got, I'd say a good solid 3 or 4 that check in every single day and chat. And I'll take 4, you know, regulars like that actively participate in chat over 50 people who don't say anything. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah. And that's been, I mean, that's when I've actually stopped caring about the follower count. I mean, I keep in mind, and when someone follows, I'm like, yeah, I thank them and all that, but I don't put too much weight on it because I realize that follower number, the metric of that follower number, doesn't really matter if you don't have anyone tuning in on a constant basis.
Yeah.
So that matters more. And also my YouTube, because I stream both on YouTube and on Twitch. I think I'm on 108 subscribers now on that channel. So that's growing as well. It's actually YouTube's been my biggest grow in the past couple of weeks. So I've even got like two communities, one on Twitch and one on YouTube. I mean, they have a combined chat so they can talk to each other. But the YouTube guys call them YouTube crew, and some people only show up on YouTube. And there's sometimes a bit of rivalry. I mean, there was a few weeks ago, everyone had started donating $1, saying YouTube crew rules, and then Twitch crew came in, and everyone started donating $1, and it was flattering, but I didn't know how to react to it. I'm like, do I thank them for it? Do I pick sides? Do I encourage this war? I don't know. And it was real fun.
I would say just let the viewers have fun doing what they're doing. You know, it's fun. It's fun to have a team. You know, it's fun to have a sports team. And as you know, I think I was the one who tuned you on to multi-streaming through the service you use.
Yeah,
that was the hardest thing for me when I got affiliate, is I had to make that decision. I'm like, I'm only going to be able to stream on Twitch now. But I didn't have a big subscriber base on Beam, which is Mixer now, or YouTube, or Hitbox. So for me, it was like, well...
Wait. It's not Hitbox, it's Smashcast now.
What is it?
Smashcast.
Oh, did they change the name now?
They changed the name as well for Hitbox.
Oh, let's just make everything... Let's just keep changing names.
I know. Doesn't make any sense, but I mean, I've slowly, I got offered the affiliate program, I think a couple of weeks after you did, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Because I just find I think with smaller communities, so this is my perspective. Obviously, everyone has a different perspective. With smaller communities, you I don't think the monetary side of it's worth it, of excluding a whole platform.
Well, it's excluding every platform other than Twitch.
Yeah, because it runs off different metrics. Like the Twitch runs off the way people see your channel is based off viewers watching your content at that time. YouTube isn't based on how many viewers are watching at your time. It's how many minutes people have watched of your content. So someone could watch an hour or two of your stream, and that would be like the equivalent of having about 10 people watching you on Twitch. Because you get more visible, because they're tags, because of the game you play. So if I have people watching for a consistent time on one platform, that's actually doing me more favors than Twitch is actually doing. Because I'm on Twitch, I'm just another number that's playing World of Warcraft. If you've seen how many people play World of Warcraft at one time, it's a lot. So that's the way the angle I have it. Maybe eventually I will have to make that decision, but at the moment it feels like a gimmick to take more content away from the other platforms, to kind of trying to incentivize people to go one way than the other, and it just feels like mindless fighting.
Well, I think that's absolutely what the affiliate program was. It was to create a monopoly. And also, they keep saying that subscriber is coming for affiliate status, and that's to take on things like Game Wisp and those other programs that let you subscribe to someone's channel even though they're not, Twitch partnered. And I think you're right. A lot of what you said, I absolutely agree with. It's just in my case, I didn't really have, like, I had Reduxa was tuning in every day on YouTube, and that was about it. Like,
I mean, it's all kind of based on how you're doing things and how your community is. Your community, if you do have one, and also how you want to run your content. At the end of the day, we don't want control taken away about how you want to present yourself or how you want to throw yourself out there. Because the minute you start restricting yourself, I mean, do you know Philip DeFranco?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say I've watched a couple of his videos, other than the stuff that you've linked in Discord. I've watched a couple of his videos, and sometimes if I'm looking for something to watch on YouTube and he pops up on the hot list, I'll watch it. But I'm not like a big fan or anything. But
yeah, well, he has a mentality that I once heard from Rooster Teeth. And I now kind of fully understand the concept is that you can't put yourself in a box. You have to put yourself in many different avenues in order to be a success. Because the platforms that we run on, me and you, and platforms they run on, they don't control the platform. They are pretty much just a poster on a wall, but the wall is YouTube, and they can change what that wall looks like at any moment. They can just take the wall away.
And they often do.
And they often do. And you have to make sure that if that wall gets taken away, you're still plastered on another wall, that you can still put your content out there. So that's the angle I'm going at it. And that's why with my new D20 Universe channel, that's why we're streaming on Twitch and posting it on YouTube, and just having so many different avenues for people to actually see us.
And I think that's a great chance to segue into the D20 Multiverse Twitch channel that you've got.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I was, you messaged me and you're like, hey, if you're looking for someone, I'd be happy to come on. I'm like, dude, I am always down to talk anything Dungeons and Dragons related. I mean, my avatar is a polyhedral D20 with the 1 on the, showing.
Yeah.
I am...
It's pretty obvious.
Like, I literally have met girls, all right? I've met girls and...
Would you have met girls?
Well, hold on. There's more to this story than I just met girls. I've met girls in the past, and one sticks out. And then, whatever, and then it didn't work out. And then later on, she said, oh, I mentioned D&D much, much later on. And she goes, oh, yeah, I knew you played D&D. I go, how would you know? She goes, I could just tell looking at you. How is that possible? She goes, I don't know, but the day after I met you, I was talking to my friend, and I kept referring to you as the Dungeon Master. Like, because apparently she would nickname guys that she was dating. So, yeah, she nicknamed me the Dungeon Master after meeting me, like, the first time. I guess I give off the D&D vibe.
Maybe, or there's some weird fetish thing that you're trying to cover up.
I mean, that could also be, but in this case, no, it specifically was D&D. So you've got a new Twitch channel in addition to your private one, no one here. It's called the D20 Multiverse, and you're running it with friends, right?
Yes, so basically we have a YouTube channel called the D20 Multiverse, and it all started when we started doing reviews on Critical Role. So every week we'll do a rundown of the latest Critical Role review episode, and yeah, we just started doing that. And as we went forward, the banter that me and him have and how we interact with each other was real positive, and we're like, we want to do more. How can we, start expanding on this? And that's when we come up with the idea of the Dragon Tavern, which that's when I contacted you about that. Because we had this idea of that. Okay, we've got one show where we talk about watching D&D. So let's do another series where we talk about D&D in general, like from like Critical Role cast in video games to a thesis that one of our players is actually doing on D&D, to making your own campaign, just talking about the culture that is D&D, because it's just exploded over the past year or two. And as that show's now evolved, that's why we haven't actually reached out to you again, because it's a 20-minute show now. So when you have conversations about D&D, it's hard to chop it down to 20 minutes, so we're still trying to work out how we're going to do that. I have to do a lot of editing. I mean, you say you can go on and on about D&D, but that's the problem. We can't have it more than 20 minutes because that's where our format is. Yeah, you feel like you got to say something.
I was going to say, I could talk 20 minutes without letting you have a word, just talking about THAC0. Like, you could pick one spot in D&D and I could go for 20 minutes easily.
Yeah, so we're thinking of a different way of doing that, maybe even just a podcast later down the line. Mm-hmm. But now, so we've got one series that we talk about watching it. We've got one series talking about just D&D in general. And then we thought, okay, how about we think about putting our personal games out there on our channel as well? So now we've got us playing D&D. Oliver, my dungeon master, who's in all the videos you'll see there, he runs 2 games based in the exact same world. So he has what we call the Thursday game, and we also have the Sunday game. And so I reached out to both groups and said, hey, would you guys be keen for us to actually start live streaming and actually posting our games online? And all of them were just like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, all right.
Hey, Dave, let me just interrupt you for 1 second. Zale in chat is asking for a link for your YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel. Yeah, if you look twitch.tv/D20multiverse, it does have a link to the YouTube channel, but I'll also post it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to just put the I mean,
Yeah,
Zale's
yeah.
a real nice guy. I met him.
Delete the link. It won't let me post the link.
Oh, all right. Let me see if I can post it. Hang on a second here. I'm sorry. So continue. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So basically, they reached out to all of them, and all of them said an over, a huge yes. So we're like, okay. I went to Ollie and said, all right, so how are we going to do this? Ollie goes, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to sort this all out. So I wasn't living in my current location at the time because I've moved since we last spoke.
I was thinking that was a different background, but I didn't really have a good spot to jump in with that.
Nah, so we basically have been talking, we've been playing games, I've been trying to work out how it's going to work. And we had one option of me moving my computer every Thursday and Sunday over to his place, set up the set and all that, or I could just leave my current place and move into the spare room that they had. So we decided to go for that option because it's going to be a lot easier going forward, considering we will be moving to making 4 videos a week. And we had done our first test run on Sunday. The past Sunday, we did our first live stream, and we did our first recording of it. And and then we're going to do a Thursday ones. And if that goes well, it looks like it's going to be a regular thing that we're going to be posting it. We're doing it every Thursday. Oh, I think it's Thursday my time. I'm not sure. I have to get You're Eastern time, aren't you?
I'm Eastern Standard Time. So what time is it there for you right now? It's like 11:30 in the morning?
Yeah, it's 12:20 p.m. at the moment.
12:20 p.m. So, you're 16 hours ahead of me, personally. So, yeah, when you say Thursday, you, like, for me, like, if you're doing it, if you're doing a Thursday night, it'd be like...
I've got the conversion. So,
okay.
At 1 p.m. on my Sunday is when we start our game. So that would be 9 p.m. on your Thursday.
Wow, that's actually...
Sorry, 9 p.m. on your Saturday. Yeah.
Well, weekends are hard for me to watch, but 9 p.m. That's great. That's like my prime Twitch hours where I'm like usually sitting back and relaxing and just watching as opposed to, actually trying to stream or something myself. So, yeah.
And our one that we have on Thursday, so that will be 6 p.m. Thursday for us. That's actually 2 a.m. on a Wednesday. For your time, so it's a little bit out there, but all our games are posted again on our YouTube channel the following week.
So maybe that's so great for me, but for like Loina or people in the UK, that's morning. You wake up, get a cup of coffee, sit down, and watch the D20 Multiverse.
Exactly, and it's a 4-hour game as well, so it's not one of those. What I've noticed over my research, because if you're doing a new project, it's good to kind of get different ways of doing things. Obviously, we had Critical Role as the pinnacle, but you also got a lot of people now streaming their games and trying to work out what works and what doesn't. And the one thing that you learn pretty quickly, audio is very important, but the visual doesn't need to be that important.
No.
And it's good to have in a while to see people's reactions and to see the players' reactions, but it's a 4-hour game. A lot of people just watch it in the background and just have it turned on. So as long as you've got audio there, you've got the visual set up, it's good to go. And after us doing that test, we were definitely going ahead full ball with it. So we will now have 4 Dungeons and Dragons related content on our D20 Multiverse going forward. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, I apologize. I still use the Restream chat app, and for some reason it was just bouncing YouTube also, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't actually broadcasting to YouTube. I apologize.
And luckily, also with our Twitch channel, you can watch everything on VOD. So we archive all our recordings. So there's always an avenue to go into and watch our past shows. And yeah, that's kind of a work in progress. It's quite interesting. Is like the more we do it, the more we learn. Like one thing we have noticed after our first ever live stream is that we can't put the mic on the Dungeon Master's desk, on Oliver's desk, because he keeps on whacking his desk when he does his DM. he's like, and I'm like,
dude,
mm.
nothing will get me to tune away from someone's channel quicker when they make a repetitive noise in the background, or like the one I love watching Hearthstone on Twitch. It's one of the things I really enjoy because it's sort of such a simple game in a lot of ways, and you can just sort of tune out and tune in whenever you feel like it. And one of the big broadcasters on Hearthstone is Kibler, and I really like Kibler because he was a designer for Magic the Gathering, the card game, and I used to play that. But dude, he constantly is clicking his mouse, and it's like click, 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 click. I'm like, those little things they can. So your Oliver taps his desk, or
Oliver taps his desk, and you also hear the dice. I think he plays with his dice because obviously he got the DM screen up, so I can't see exactly what he's doing. But I think he just plays with his dice a lot, and the mic just where it's placed with that stream just picked up on it. So we're gonna take that and move it to a different location for next time. We have to work on lighting. We have to work on a backdrop so we can hide our apartment. We have to move all our crap around to actually fit.
Green screen.
Green screen. We thought about that. But with the two games that we are streaming, they're both based in the same world. So they're basically just on different sides of the continent where they're currently being played. So yes, maybe eventually the two parties could actually cross over with each other. But we thought of like a bit of a red and blue palette because both games are very different from each other. Like our game is it's a newer game. It's only been going for a couple of months. Probably like a month, I would say, a month or two. And we're a very diverse personality-wise crew. There's a mix of male and female. We've got people that aren't from New Zealand. We do have, I think it's Irish. I don't know what Asgrim is, but we've got people of different sexualities as well. We do have a transgender person who plays in our game, Casper. So it's a very mixed, diverse kind of group, and we're kind of learning as we go. A lot of us, we haven't played D&D in a live action set before. So we're learning how to speak to each other, how to give each other time and moments, and how do we bond as a group. And so that's one of the main draws that they're putting our group up, is the fact we're not going to be like Critical Role. We're not going to be like that party that's already established, that are best friends, that are like hugging each other every moment. We're not at that level. We're just a group of random people that got together based off an online post and started playing a game.
Well,
and we are bonding well and everything, and we're evolving really, really well. But that was one I thought a really good appeal to our game, is that we're not a perfect team yet. So you watch us evolve into one.
Well, you're sort of talking about two different dynamics that really is very interesting to me. So as you know, I've been dungeon mastering D&D games for over 30 years. I started DMing back in 1984. And
I wasn't even born.
I know, I get that all the time when I say that. One of the things that is one of the real challenges for a dungeon master is what's called party cohesion. How do you like, so you have people come and sit down at the table and make their characters, and they think, oh, I'm going to be Conan, the mighty sword swinging, I'm going to be Legolas, the bow elf, I'm going to be this heroic wizard, etc., right? So everyone comes up with these. Right? I'm sorry?
Lord of the Rings, basically.
Yeah. Well, you got everyone who comes up with these ideas, these stories for their characters in their head that they want to play. And as the DM, you don't want to ever quash any creativity, but at the same time, you want the people to work together so that they can advance the story, because the story is not going to be interesting if every single game session, as soon as a hiccup hits, the party just starts infighting.
Yeah.
So that's that's the one level of party cohesion, but the other is actual group cohesion with new players. How's the group dynamic going to come together?
And we're just very lucky that we're a very open group, and we're very respectful of everything, and that we've been really good with feedback. And this is like another level of actually helping us get better at our gameplay. Is that we're putting our actions, our voices, what we're doing during the game online, And so we personally can watch it back and say, what did we notice? What did we do too much of? What we didn't do enough of? And one of the big things is obviously talking over each other. That is something I think with every novice DM player, D&D player experiences. Is just that instinct to try and say something or do something as soon as possible, because you're used to doing that when you play an adventure game. You're used to just doing things yourself, but now you have to wait your turn and you kind of be a little bit more patient and wait for your moment to say anything. So that's something that we're kind of, I think we just struck gold with it. Is the fact that we're very open. We want to see us evolve, and we're just going to let that happen. And that's with our group. Our group is just really the novice group, the rookie group, the group that always makes the mistakes. The other group that we're doing is a more experienced DM group, so D&D group. They are the ones that role play very heavily. They're the ones that know the game very well. So they can get thrown the more trickier things, and they can actually work their way out of it. And I think that's an amazing dynamic to see a really established group of friends that are playing very well, that are really into their role playing, and then our group, which is kind of just learning as you go and trying to figure out things. But those two games, those two stories are actually in the same universe together. So there's a lot of crossover, and what one group does affects the other group. And especially right now, is the funny thing is when we're starting to live stream these games, the one element that we didn't expect, but it's going to happen, is that one of the groups currently is 100 years in the past. So whatever they do 100 years in the past, because they time travel all the way back, whatever they do will greatly affect our game.
Let me ask you a quick question. Can I ask you a quick question? The group that's in the past, is that the more established group, like that works? Yeah. Okay, all right. Just wanted to.
I can't imagine the chaos we would make if we were back in the past. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to meet my father, because my character is a dwarf named Stefan. And he was raised by humans because after 100 years war, his mother and father died on the battlefield, and he was taken in by his father's best friend. So my character never met my father. And he's only recently discovered that he has a brother and sister. So he's slowly learning more about it. So if my character was 100 years in the past, he will try and meet his father, and actually ruin the whole storyline for him, because you'll find out exactly what happened. Just like, oh, okay, no one. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's really exciting, us putting our games out there. We're a bit worried as well. We're not actors. We're not all of us are entertainers. And some of us are a lot quieter than others. We have a guy called Raymond in our team who's a lot more quieter. He writes down everything, and he is the knowledge base. If he dies, we're screwed, because he has all the information, because he's the only one that pays enough attention. But he's a lot quieter, and we did notice when we were live streaming our games for the first time, he spoke up a bit. And that's really cool for me and Ollie to see that, because it's giving him confidence. He's a shy guy. But we love him to death. But it's seeing those moments of him just expressing himself, so other people can see that and actually have a recorded of that, is actually really, really cool. And it's interesting to see how that's going to change and evolve as we go forward.
Well, and in the past, you and I have talked about using Twitch streaming to get over anxiety issues and to get over social. I don't want to say social shortcomings, but then using this as an outlet to really, improve your socialization skills and improve your comfort level in talking. And so that's seeing that exactly happen with him. He's shy, but now he knows, well, I'm on cam, I've got to talk at least once every 10 minutes or so,
Yeah, and that's why we're putting our games there, because in our normal games, he's like that as well. He's a bit secluded, and we can actually see that now as players. We can reach out and just kind of prompt him a little bit more, or we'll see how he's acting. And so this whole thing is like a grand experiment for us, and the more we do it, the more excited we get, and the more feedback we get. I mean, we had our most watched day on our D20 Multiverse YouTube channel the other day. I think it was 3 hours of content that was watched, which I find for something that doesn't hold any streaming and our content's only 20 minutes long each video, it was actually really, really flattering to see that. So we're slowly building and slowly growing, and this is just a really exciting project for us, and we can't wait to do it on a regular basis and see where it goes from there.
I mean, it sounds so. As you know, our friend Luna was talking about putting together a D&D game that we would be playing online, and then she ran into some personal issues and she had to take some time away from the internet. And after about a month, I said, well, maybe I can do it. But, dude, I'm too busy. I'm like working 3 jobs.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. And on top of that, I also play D&D and Dungeon Master D&D on a message board where I play by post. And it's just like, I don't have time. It is a lot of work.
I mean, keep in mind that our DM is doing 2 games now on a live audience, and he knows he's an actor as well, so he can handle the feedback. Our DM is just he's an actor, like Ollie. That's his bread and butter. So he's really excited for it, but he does play up the show a little bit. So I sometimes have to dial him back and say, hey, just let's not make this fake. Let's still make this an organic experience. So we're all kind of learning as we go. One of the big things that we are worried about, and the worry normally just comes from me because I have so much care for these players as human beings, is our LGBTQ players. So we do have someone who's gay, we do have someone who's lesbian, and we do have someone who's transsexual playing in our games. It's actually all in my game, and we know how the internet is.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I didn't quite catch that.
So we've got someone who is...
No, I know, but you said something about sniffers? I didn't quite understand what you...
Sniffers? Did I just have a stroke?
I don't know. You said, so you got someone who's gay, LGBT, and lesbian, and then...
Transsexual.
Okay, but then you said, and then... I just don't want to miss anything important.
Yeah, they're all in my game.
Oh,
that's what I said.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's probably me.
Yeah. But yeah, they're all in my game, and we know how the internet is, and we know how people can be a dick, and I made sure it's clear to all of them of this will happen, but we all have your back. So we're gonna see how that goes, and I'm just hoping that people would not troll us to an insane degree.
Well, can I give you my thoughts on that?
Sure.
This is based on some of my own experiences and also my own feelings on it. If I was in that situation, I wouldn't care so much about what random jackasses on the internet were saying, much as how the people around me at that time were reacting to it. So, like, if that happened, and you guys were like, oh, come on, guys, stop being assholes, blah, 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 blah. You know, like...
They'll do more.
What's that?
It will add fuel to the fire, and they'll keep on going.
Right, but if you're just kind of like, troll, bounce, you know, like whatever, that's going to happen, just ignore, like, we don't care. Ignore it.
Well, I think it's easy to do from my perspective, but I think it'd be harder for someone to do that hasn't been on Twitch. Because, I mean, all our players, they're not Twitch streamers.
Yeah.
They're not YouTube content creators. They are players in our game. And don't get me wrong, the 3 players that I'm talking about, they're strong individuals. They've gone through a lot, and we're lucky in New Zealand to be a very open society. I mean, we gay marriage is legal. We've got transsexual people that are members of parliament. We're very, very open when it comes to that. It's just when people are on the stream and they're constantly saying things like that, and it's just disparaging for others. It's quite hard because we can't monitor that all the time. We're playing the game.
Right.
We're playing the D&D game, and we do it for free, so we can't exactly hire someone in to just monitor the chat all the time. So that's one trepidation that I have about the whole thing.
Well, can I make the obvious suggestion is if you have a viewer, like a regular viewer, make them a mod.
Yeah,
and just be like, look,
that's what we have to go to and start building that little community, just to be basically our shields when it comes to that kind of thing. But I think on the flip side of that, or the flip side of the negative side of broadcasting, that we also show the positives of it, is showing that what D&D can do in terms of someone that is like that, because they get to just be whoever the fuck they want. Sexuality in D&D is very kind of irrelevant. And this, not in the sense of it's not important, but more in the sense that no one gives a shit. You can be whoever you want.
I think you have to go all the way back to first edition AD&D to find gender differences.
Yeah, I mean, no race differences, that they barely hold any weight in D&D game, unless the storyline specifically evolves around a race.
But I mean, like, starting basically from second edition AD&D on, your race and your gender weren't gameplay mechanics. I mean, there were gameplay mechanics associated with them, but it was more story choice. You know, like, there wasn't a big advantage to being a dwarven fighter over, say, a human fighter. And yeah, there might be a big advantage being a half giant over a halfling, but you know, that there's some differences there. But for the most part, it doesn't matter, and gender didn't matter from second edition going forward. In fact, it's funny because I had someone who wanted to play a first edition game with me, and I went back and I was like, man, I haven't looked at the first edition rulebook since like the 90s. So I had to go back and look through them, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Women have like a lower maximum strength than men, but like a higher, but like a higher maximum dexterity or something like that. It was a weird choice.
Yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah,
it was a different time. You know, I mean, even now we're still not getting it right, but at least D&D has changed to more align with the times. But yeah, it's really going to be interesting us going forward in the next few weeks of seeing how people react to it, whether we do have anyone react to it. I think with our games, it's a 4-hour game. We're surprised that we got a random follower when we streamed, because I didn't tell our players we were streaming at the time. I only told them halfway through the game that we were streaming. I set up all the cameras and I said I was just doing a test recording, but really I clicked start recording, start stream at the same time. If you know OBS, you know it's like right underneath each other. And then it turns out during that stream that we had a random person come in and follow the channel that none of us know. So we can see that people did enjoy it and did get engaged with it, and it gets us really excited that this little project, this little game that we started with, has now evolved to something that people actually are at least a little bit interested in. So it's heaps of fun.
I'm gonna just take a moment here and just remind anyone else that's watching, or let anyone that's watching know I'm talking to Dave, a good buddy of mine that I met on Twitch. His personal Twitch channel where he does a lot of World of Warcraft 5 days a week, roughly 5 days a week. It's twitch.tv/NoahNear, but we're also talking about his new project, which is D&D based with his group, which you can find at twitch.tv D20 Multiverse. That's D20 Multiverse. And you can also find his YouTube channels by searching for either Dave's Quest or D20 Multiverse. And
it's actually the D20.
The D20 Multiverse on YouTube. Sorry about that, Dave. Thank you for correcting me. But if you go to his Twitch channel too, he's got links up, and and you should make sure you follow both of his channels. It's a really interesting watch. So I just wanted to throw that. Like I said, I like to kind of throw those in because we get viewers who cycle in and out. So I've been watching the numbers. They've been going up and down, hovering around 6 or 7 viewers most of the time. So.
We're having a good chat. That's all that matters.
Well, but don't forget too, we do want to get people to check out your channel, and I would be remiss if I just sat there and just like, oh yeah, Dave, I agree, D20, brr, 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 and didn't at least mention your Twitch channels.
I always rate fun over followers. Not to say they're irrelevant. It's just that I get more focused on it and forget to plug my own stuff and forget to like pimp myself out when I'm just like rambling on about something. Because
it's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if you know this. I recently got an affiliate link for GameFly, so like if people go down into my stuff and they can sign up for a free 30-day trial of GameFly, and then I get paid if they do. And so I was talking, like I was playing something and I was talking, and some guy was talking about like, oh well, I have a PlayStation 4, so I don't know if I could play this. I'm like, oh no. I was playing Gems of War at the time. I'm like, oh no, this is on PlayStation. It's on all the consoles and Steam and cell phone and blah blah blah. And one of my viewers messaged me. He's like, dude, he just mentioned consoles. You should mention your GameFly link. And I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I'm terrible at pimping myself out.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just, I don't know. I'm not a very good self promoter.
Well,
I'm too mellow for that.
We've talked about this in the past. I mean, I'm on Twitch because one, I'm a very social person and I don't have a large social circle in real life since I moved to where I live now. But also because I love when I'm playing video games that social aspect of like, it reminds me when I was a kid and I'd be sitting on the couch waiting for my turn, you know, like when my friend would die and then he'd pass the control and then it'd be my turn, and we'd be sitting there chatting. You know, like that's the primary reason I'm on Twitch is for that socialization aspect that I associate with video games, you know?
Yeah, I kind of, there's many different reasons of it. I mean, at first I did it so I could have one or two people to talk to while I was doing my grinding for WoW. That was typically the intention straight off the bat, just so I don't get bored. But it's evolved into something that's given me a lot of positive, you know, positive things, like a better outlook, a bit of drive, a bit of creative experience that I'm going through in my life. So it's strange how a little thing that you didn't expect much of can evolve to something wicked.
Yeah. I mean, I know another thing is too is since I switched streaming, like I used to stream pretty much only at this time, like at night. And then since I started getting onto a schedule where I'm trying to do weekdays noon to 4, like I found that that's actually helped structure the rest of my life. Like now I start to think like, well, I should go to bed now because in the morning I have to do this and this and this before I get up, and then I'm going to stream. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's weird how, yeah, just like you said, you may start it for one thing, but then something kind of
evolves.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's strange because I don't think people that are streaming, the best advice I can give you is set a schedule, but set one that fits you. Don't force a schedule that you have to, you know, really, really, really stretch and move shit around to actually meet. Because that was one of the fatal mistakes I made when I first started streaming. I thought the best time to stream was, my time, it was like 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. every day. And that was a terrible idea because I had absolutely no time to do anything else in my life, like go to the bank or do my washing or do anything like that, or have a realistic job or anything. And that really screwed me because one, I got burnt out. Two, things got on top of me. And when those things got on top of me, I just didn't want to stream anymore.
Yeah. And
it just ruined it. And then when I switched to, which is probably why you don't see me that often there, Rhevs, it's because I have to stream at a reasonable time for myself. And so when I stream, you're typically asleep or just waking up. So I think that's if any advice I can give to any streamer is like set a schedule, but don't set one that you can't meet, or it's not realistic.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And on top of that, even if you do have a schedule, remember that, you know, unless you're an partnered member or something and you're getting paid and you have to be on every single day, you can take a few days off. Like Lassane in chat, she had a sore throat the other day. And it wasn't like she couldn't talk, but it was like she didn't want to sit there on stream for 2 hours and talk constantly and make it worse. So she took the day off. And the next day, she still had all of her people were there.
It's so hard. When you stream so much, and then you've got a day that you normally stream and you don't, for any reason, there's always that back in your mind thinking like, this is odd. What do I do? That's what I've done.
I mean, I put in my bio. I said, like, I'm going to try to stream every weekday, noon till 4, but I'm a substitute teacher. I have another writing job that I have to do on top of this, and if like deadlines are killing me, I may have to just sit down and do that. I may need those 4 hours of stream time to work. And of course, I'm a married man with a house. Sometimes shit gets on top of you, you know. But like, so I didn't stream today because I had to substitute teach. You know, am I going to stress about it? No, man.
No. It's just the way it is, and I'm thinking if you do this unprofessionally, like we do, we're amateurs.
Yeah.
I know what we're doing. And the fact that we get anyone following us and engage with us, if you have a community out there that gets upset if you don't stream or gets very, very angry that you don't stream for one day, they're probably not a very loyal community because they don't give a shit about your health or how you're doing. All they care about is getting their shit out. And like getting their entertainment, but they don't realize it's two sides of the coin. And luckily, I have a community that every time I've said, "Look, I can't stream today because of this reason," they're all just like, "Cool, take it easy." And that's when you know you're building something that is going to last, and you're going to have people showing up every day. If you do have people that blast you for putting your health first, that's when streaming stops becoming fun.
Well, I've also gotten much more in the habit of feeling like, hey, I can pop in and talk to one of my streamers that I like you or Lassane. I can pop in. I feel perfectly fine popping in, talking for 5, 10, 15 minutes and being like, all right, I gotta go. I got stuff I gotta do. But I know because I've been on the broadcast side of it too. I love that. I love it when people are just like, listen, I can't stay. I just came in to say hi. And I'm like, great, thanks for stopping by. Like, I love it.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
It means more than people think. And it's kind of crazy when I never thought much of that. I thought, when you pop into a stream and just say hi and just chill out with a streamer for about 5-10 minutes, it didn't really mean anything to them. But now, after doing it for so long, fuck, it does.
Dude, I say all the time, I love my lurkers. I've got 2 or 3 people who, if they've said more than 5 sentences in chat in the last month, I'd be shocked. Like, they don't even usually say hi. I just see them on viewer list, and then they'll be there for like an hour, and then they'll tune away. But it's like, yeah, I know. It's they're just hanging out for a little bit. I love that. I love the fact that there's people who feel like they can just come in and hang out for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I know my creepers, as I call them, by name. I've got Sarah. I've got Tori. They just come in, say hi, they do initial. Like Tori always drinks coffee in the morning, so I always say, "How's the coffee?" And she's like, "Sweet," and then she just sits in the background. And Sarah does the same thing, and they just sit there watching. And then once in a while, they speak up if something crazy is going on, or they've got something to say about whatever we're talking about. But I find that they're wicked, is that people have it in the background. They do their normal stuff. They like their music or like the conversation. They just want it sitting there because that is TV.
Well, I had one of my people that was a lurker actually told me. He says, he goes, I have to drive for 45 minutes every day for work, and he's West Coast, so like I start streaming at like 9 o'clock his time, you know. So he goes, he goes, when I am on my way to work, I'll be like watching you on my cell phone, like as I'm getting dressed in the morning, and then I'll go out and I'll put you on the holder in my car, and mostly I'm just listening to you as I drive to work, and then when I get to work, I turn off my phone. You know, it's like, yeah.
See, and one thing that really bothered me is I was listening to the radio the other day, and I was just driving the car, just, doing a thing, and then the topic of streaming came up, and then as people in mainstream entertainment like to do, they blasted it. They're like, don't understand why people would watch and listen to someone play video games. It doesn't make any sense. It's so weird. And then I'm just like, okay, stop. If I was there, I would ask them, how is what they're doing any different than what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is you're watching a game. That's the only difference, because everyone else listens to the person talking. They're talking about subjects. They're not typically just talking about the game. They're talking about life, and they're talking about things going on, and sometimes they have music in the background. they're doing exactly what you're doing on the radio. The only difference is that there's a video game involved.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dave. What do you ever watch any sports on TV?
I got up at 4 a.m. today to watch New Zealand versus Belarus in soccer.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Would you watch that game if it was just a camera on the field and just like the sounds of the crowd and the whistle blowing and that's it? No commentary whatsoever. Would you watch that ever?
Okay, Rev, I'm going to stop you right there. This is a very bad example because the stream I was using wasn't in English, so I did actually have to watch it in complete silence. I watched
okay, but
80 hour. I watched a 90-minute game of football at 4 a.m. in complete silence.
All right. Okay, so that's a bad example, but do you see where I'm going with that? Like, people generally, when they're watching sports, they're listening to the commentators, right? And I tell people that's what it is when you're watching someone on Twitch. It's not that you're just watching someone play a video game. And you might enjoy that. You might enjoy watching someone do a speed run of Ocarina of Time. You might enjoy watching that with no commentary. But for the most part, what people do is they're watching someone play a video game and then talking. It's the commentary is what really... Listen, Dave, this happens every time I talk to you. Our time has flown by. We're in our last 5 minutes here. And I just wanted to make sure that we, once again, hit twitch.tv D20 Multiverse. That's D20 Multiverse.
No, you did it wrong. Twitch.tv the D20 Multiverse.
Oh, wait, your Twitch is the D20?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've had it up wrong the entire time, dude.
That's right.
I thought that was just the, well, here. Better late than never.
I tried to be subtle with it. I didn't want to say, hey, Rev.
Next time, just say, hey, Rev. Hey, dummy.
Yeah, oi, you.
Yeah.
Oi.
And it is also the D20 Multiverse, which they can search for on YouTube.
Yes, they can.
And then your personal Twitch, which you stream your Dave's Quest on, is nowhere near. I highly recommend it. It's one of my first things I'll usually see in the morning as I'm sort of rubbing the sleep out of my eyes and morning, Dave. Or sometimes I don't even say morning. Sometimes I just come in and I'm like, hold down the M key for a few seconds, then hit enter.
And most of the time when you join, I'm typically nearly finishing my bottle of wine and just pretty drunk at the time. So I don't really remember too much. And I think I drink way too much on stream recently. I think I have a problem.
It's only a problem when you run out. That's my theory.
I know, I still got some.
Oh, there you go. Was there anything else you wanted to hit before we wrap it up?
No, I think another conversation from me and you in about 6 months of how things have changed and evolved for my little projects will be really cool. But thanks everyone for watching and listening, and keep on doing it, because maybe one day we'll, I don't know, get something out of it.
Well, I think it has been about 6 months since our last one-on-one like this, I believe. Like, you were one of my early guests on Rhevs Palaver.
Well, I started up streaming in October. So I would have met you in November?
Maybe. So I started streaming really... I started really getting into it in December. And I don't...
I'll probably meet you in December.
Yeah, probably in December. See, my first foray into streaming was actually right when World of Warcraft Legion came out. I thought, I'm going to stream this. This is going to be great. And as you mentioned earlier, there are so many people streaming World of Warcraft. I streamed for like 3 days straight, like 12 to 18 hours a day. And I don't think I had a single person watching me the entire time. So
yeah, I spent a long time for a little while. So it was 5 months ago. You posted because I was your third ever guest on the show. And that was about 5 months ago. Yeah,
so another 5 or 6 months will definitely... And of course, I love talking to you, so you're always welcome back anytime you want. If you've got, especially if you've got something new that pops up and you want to talk about it, hey. Man,
I'm willing to come on anytime, because I do love that banter, and I mean, this hour's gone through quickly.
It always does. It always does. I always tell people the first 7 minutes takes longer than the next 53, but...
That's because the intros, we don't like listening to ourselves, so we're just like, yeah, I know who I am. Hurry up, let's get to stuff I don't know.
Yeah. Just jump into the meat. Tear into it, right?
Exactly. Get into
it. All right. Since you've been around enough, you know how this goes. I like to end by giving you the final word, and then we'll say goodnight to the guests. So, final word to Dave.
Goodbye.
All right, for Dave at twitch.tv Noaneer and twitch.tv the D20 Multiverse, and myself, Rev, twitch.tv Dose Rev. Thank you very much. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.